Make a change to your website but don't know how to do it? Don't have a content management system installed or don't understand how to use it? Managed hosting is the way to go. With XMLA Managed Website Hosting, you just email us or give us a call and we will update your website for you. Packages start at only $24.95 per month, and it's only $5 for each additional gigabyte of space, and you can host and serve your site on a fast, reliable platform with complete control. Visit xmlahost.com for complete information.
Norman's Rare Guitars, your source for new, used, and vintage equipment. Carrying acoustic, electric, guitars, bass, amps, banjos, mandolins, accessories, apparel, books, and memorabilia. With popular brands from Dan Electro, Dean, Delta, Epiphone, Fender, Gibson, Gretsch, Hill, Hoffner, Martin, Bearden, Olympia, Rickenbacker, Roland, Steele, Taylor, and Trujo. Visit normansrareguitars.com or stop by our Tarzana location at 18969 Ventura Boulevard. The pros shop here, you should too. Norman's Rare Guitars.
Motion graphics, visual effects, 3D animation, DVD and Blu-ray menu design, web development, your full production powerhouse. Go to thezoofx.com or call 818-535-4025 to schedule a consultation for your next project. Welcome to the Zoo, the Zoo FX. The unique and immense beauty is exposed in Viva Glam magazine. From beauty, hair, fashion, health, celebrities, fitness, and culture, Viva Glam magazine shares the secrets of the industry and brings you into their world. You can also subscribe to the exclusive Viva Glam digital magazine and get more in-depth tips, tricks, and advice from fashion and beauty experts. Visit VivaGlamMagazine.com for all the details you've been missing. Viva Glam Magazine.
Gold Rat 2 Urban Apparel. There's nothing cheesy about our gear. Shirts, hoodies, beanies. Visit us at goldrat2.com or stop by Karmaloop and visit our online store. Gold Rat 2. Don't like the cheese that feeds.
You can now hear this show on multiple stations around the world. Thank you to our many partner stations and syndicates. When was the last time you really thought about what you were listening to? Did it make you feel? Did it inspire you? Did it motivate you? Did it make you rock hard? And you ended up getting stuck in your vacuum? Oh, God. Enjoying Excite Radio's multiple streams for your particular mood will help guide you through your day. Getting started in the morning, enjoy some chill music. Already had your caffeine and busting your ass through your day? Enjoy some rock. Feeling kind of hard after lunch? Enjoy some hip-hop. Get angry on the drive home with some hardcore and fall asleep to instrumentals. All commercial-free and only featuring original unsigned music from indie artists across the globe. This is Excite Radio. Listen to the future.
Do you need some love in your life, but don't have time for relationships? Why not do the right thing and rescue a kitten from kittenrescue.org, Los Angeles County's largest kitten rescue organization? Save an animal and fulfill your heart with all the love you need. That's www.kittenrescue.org.
Moment to Moment, the MTM Group is a full-service marketing and media agency that specializes in fostering emotional connections between client offerings and consumer passions. We produce memorable campaigns and experiences that meet client objectives through the thoughtful use of new technologies and core strengths we've evolved over the past 15 years. We lead with a proactive approach. Listen and deliver. For more information, visit themtmgroup.com or call 310-291-8066. The unique and immense beauty is exposed in Viva Glam magazine. From beauty, hair, fashion, health, celebrities, fitness, and culture, Viva Glam magazine shares the secrets of the industry and brings you into their world. You can also subscribe to the exclusive Viva Glam digital magazine and get more in-depth tips, tricks, and advice from fashion and beauty experts. Visit VivaGlamMagazine.com for all the details you've been missing. Viva Glam Magazine.
fin. No, no. Yo y el sol vamos a disfrutar, sí, sí, de tu cuerpo que está muy caliente. Tú y el sol, caliente, tú y el sol, caliente, tú y el sol, caliente, tú y el sol, más caliente, sí. Ven a gozar de la vida tú y yo, belleza. Sal a bailar con la música que te mueve. Y yo y el sol vamos a disfrutar, sí, sí, de tu cuerpo que está muy caliente. Tú y el sol, caliente, 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 tú y el sol, más 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 caliente, sí. Tú y el sol, caliente, 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 tú y el sol, más 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 caliente.
It's time. What do they know that we don't?
What do they know that we don't?
What are they hiding? Too many secrets.
Too many lies.
Let's uncover the truth.
Yeah. We're talking about truth today.
A lot of truth. How low do you like your music, McKendog?
I like my women as low as they're willing to go. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, I'm super stoked to be doing this show with you, Colonel. We don't really have an opportunity to work together the way that we did for almost a decade.
For a decade.
Yeah.
We did several shows together. Yeah.
That's remarkable that so much time has passed, yet the moment I sit in a studio and I look at you, I know what you're going to say before you do.
Yeah. I think that's one of the greatest strengths about having both of us on a show without like a third is you and I, we don't need a third. I think that's what it always came down to was I really liked doing bottoms up when we had Dill.
We liked being able to pay more attention to the cold beer than having to talk on the microphone. So we got a third wheel so we could drink. No,
but when it was just you and I, it was just easy. I guess
it was a recipe, man. It worked. It was the Colonel secret chicken recipe.
That's how it works.
So, Colonel, what do you want to get in today? You said you had something kind of something that everybody uses. You said it was germane. And when you say germane, you start to get me worried. But you said it was germane to this very broadcast is part of what we're going to be talking about.
And kind of where we're going and where we came from with this radio station, which is the internet.
The internet.
It's kind of been the ballast for this entire radio station.
Google machine, as some people say.
The Google machine?
I don't
know. I used Yahoo. I mean, my first email address was a Yahoo address. I mean, Yahoo was my search engine of choice for quite some time.
I used Lycos. Believe it or not. I liked Lycos because it was one of the first ones that searched for the difference between web, video, and images and music. So I noticed that it had kind of a little more robust kind of feel to it. And I didn't even really have my own email address. And I mean, like, seriously, no email address until I joined a little unknown high-end web development company called Let's Go Online.
Yeah, which is where I met you.
That is a fact. And I guess technically there was an email set up for a collections department person that I checked at work, but I didn't have the communication. Parents and friends and people wouldn't be using that to send it to me. And the internet it's done some amazing things, and it's done some scary things. I mean, we're talking like, wow, some people want to put their minds to it. They can really do some damage. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about. I mean, the birth, the inception, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all the ramifications that sharing information means. I mean, what is information? It's not necessarily quantifiable in a financial sense. You can quantify it in a bit, type of thing, the size of the file and the data that's moved from point to point. I think that a lot of people, especially nowadays, because when we were growing up, we walked uphill both ways in snow, no shoes. But kids don't understand what it means to actually lug school books.
Oh, dude. Kids don't even remember you had to get like paper bags from the grocery store and like line them.
Had to flip it around, turn it inside out
and stuff.
Right, or you got docked, or your parents did.
Your parents would be so pissed.
Yeah, you'd get a jacked up book, and when you turned it at the end of the year, like, that's how I got it. They're like, no, they just kept triple charging, double dipping.
Pretty damn much.
Screwing the kids. Teacher, leave them kids alone.
Meow.
Sorry.
Meow, 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 meow.
I think that the whole information exchange thing has probably been the most profound advancement in humanity, next to the invention or understanding and comprehension of electricity and the wheel. Being able to instantly get the answer is not something that, I mean, when we were growing up, you could ask 10 people, get 10 different answers, and it was, now, you got a question, who is it, when, why, where, what, you can find it instantly, and it's scary.
Well, I mean, for like research papers, even when I was in college, and this is towards the end of the 90s, I still went to the library. I had to read books. I wasn't really able to, you couldn't just Google, King Henry VIII, and then immediately you've got 100 resources.
Right.
It's the internet is basically, it's this giant encyclopedia. I mean, that's Wikipedia, for example, is just this amazing
I think it's one of the most
encyclopedia.
And that's why I said, I mean, you know, I still remember this, and I'm embarrassed that I'm going to actually go into a harmony, but encyclopedia, encyclopedia, that you even had to like know that. And
well, yeah, I mean, that's for papers in high school. That's what I had to use. Is my dad's encyclopedias.
You know, we've had Webster's and Britannica, kind of generically speaking, and I'm sure there's other publishers out there that are furious, but yeah, that's what we had in my family, and that shit, excuse my French, is dated. And when I say dated, I mean the moment it's printed, it's out of date.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of natural resources that were used to print all these volumes, and this is a lot of the time we weren't even starting recycling, and when we're chopping down rainforests so that we could sell dated material the moment it's printed. And I think that the internet had such a profound effect, which is something that I want to talk about because it's affected other industries too. But I wanted to ask you a question. What do blondes and a lot of silicone have in common with the internet?
My first guess would definitely have to be, I would say Silicon Valley, based off of the whole, you know, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. And,
you are so, that is what everybody, that is the common thing, Silicon Valley. But unfortunately, I'm talking about Switzerland. Yes, blondes and fake boobs. No, I'm sorry. I hate to go there. But really, where the invention of the internet came from was the CERN Hadron Collector. And it was required because they were supposed to be processing in the neighborhood of 70 to 90 gigabits per second. And this is at a time, keep in mind, where we had 100 meg hard drives. Like, that was big time. Okay, you had a 100 meg drive, you were balling. You know, forget the gigabytes, the terabytes, you know, back to the megas.
Wow.
Yeah. And I worked with I worked with 20 meg drives when I was doing computers for the elementary schools and stuff when I was contributing time to, you know, do my fair share. But 70 to 90 gigabits per second was such a astronomical figure. Now my freaking iPhone could do all that. But the need came to network thousands of computers so that they could simply not only break down the data in real time, but to disseminate it to all of the universities, the colleges, and learning institutions that were sharing, interpreting, and, respectively, analyzing the data. And that is actually where we have Switzerland, the CERN Hadron Collector, that thing that like people are worried are going to start a black hole and suck us into. And I'm like, I just got out of a bad relationship. You don't even know what a black hole is. No, just kidding. No, but really, people are so worried about some of those aspects. And this was an unintentional gift. And if you could just multiply the intensity of wanting to be creative and innovative, that this was just one little tiny division of what these people had to do just to process information, and we got the birth of the internet. It's kind of fucking amazing, man. It's some serious stuff. My life wouldn't be the same without it. I don't think anybody's would.
I'd say what we should do then is you and I should both start this conversation with what was your first what's the best way to put it? I get just your first interaction with the internet, because I'll tell you with mine.
Porn.
It was Prodigy and then AOL. Those were probably the first two times I remember actually like being on the internet, like playing games with other people.
I was that kind of stuff. Now, while I had actually worked with networked computers, this is kind of pre-internet when it was when Apple Computer used something that was called Apple Talk. So I was familiar with sharing and connecting to other computers through a network, but my internet experience was actually based on trying to get extra credit to graduate. No. I took a class and I taught people. I didn't even know how to do it myself, but I'm like, how hard can it be? And It wasn't hard. But I went to Van Halen and, started pulling images and checking out my favorite band. And I just thought, hey, I wonder how much information's out there. Is there anything out there that I don't already know? And I was blown away with live pictures and things. I was like, I actually, and you've seen my Kramer. That Kramer was actually kind of created because I saw somebody that posted a unique design, and I thought it was so cool that I'm like, I can do something like that on my own. And I ended up creating my own Kramer with some Van Halen insignia stuff because I found it on the internet. And this was way before people were, sharing emails and, anything like that. Before the music and movie exchange, the WordPress sites and the Twittering and all that.
I was doing
good stuff.
Text-based freaking role-playing games where you had like little engines that you could like, basically like your F keys would be different kinds of attacks.
Hey man,
different
watch your
weapons.
F keys, man.
Watch your F keys. And I mean, you could like look at another character and it would give you a description of what they're wearing. You'd be like, oh, you're wearing chainmail. That's hot.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, this is text based.
Hot.
Yeah. That's is that studded leather?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, my first experience with the internet, I would definitely say is I liked it at first. I saw it as a tool to. I mean, I wouldn't say I predicted things like not Twitter. What was that, Napster and things like that? But you could tell, like in the early to mid '90s, I was starting to go like, okay, at some point, this thing's gonna break like wide effing open, and it's just gonna be no holds barred. It's gonna be all the information you ever wanted. But if you read books like Snow Crash and stuff like that, they talk about like Philip K. Dick, Crack in Space.
Philip what?
Philip K. Dick, science fiction writer from the 20s and 30s.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. These guys predicted things like that. Like endless information in the palm of your hand. I mean, when you read Snow Crash, they're basically talking about freaking iPods and iPads, but this was like the 70s when this book was written.
Portable devices. I mean, look at
but portable devices with like imaging back
with processing power.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at the Star Treks.
Exactly.
The invention of the flip communicator, which turned into the phone, the touchpad, which ended up becoming the tablet,
Captain's log, Stardate 247.
Yeah, the little computer that sat on the desk, which became the laptop. It was just all, science fiction to science fact.
The fucking 5S does all that shit in 2 seconds.
It's like, yeah,
that's what blows my mind.
And go into a room of Hydron collector computers, like, yeah, my freaking iPhone has more memory than that piece of crap. It's kind of crazy that one of the things that was talked about on a very interesting show that I was watching is the exponential rate at which our ability to interpret and process data has changed. And it's at a rate of 14 months. We have been for the last 6 or 7 years, doubling, if not tripling, our processing power in just over a year. Now, taking that in consideration, now let's, hate to get tech and geek on you, but there was a PC computer called the 8086. Then there was the 286, and they had the 286DX, and then the 386 and the 486.
Dude, no, I'll tell you straight up though, the 486 was the fucking shit, bro.
I know.
That
You're getting
shit
all
was
sentimental.
You
played Duke Nukem. You played Doom
dude.
on
Wolfenstein.
it.
Come on, bro. Return to Castle
little role play.
Wolfenstein.
But the
Dark Queen of
processing
Kran, Pools
power,
of Radiance.
when you start moving in 0.0 gigahertz, you're talking about hundreds of megahertz. And we're bouncing, depending on your personal computer choice. Me, I like Apple. I like Mac.
I've been
Once
using
you go
Mac ever since I met you guys.
You never look back. But
I was PC all through the 90s. I met you in 10. I've been Mac for 14 years.
The fact that you can do both kind of makes a pretty amazing system. But the whole thing is that, systems do process, have different quantifications in the way that they rate the processing. And I think that, it kind of creates an unfair kind of scale when you're trying to compare what a PC does versus what a Mac does. But the average Mac has been moving at 0.2 to 0.4 gigahertz per year since 2009. So where they're at 1.3, they're now processing at 2.7. And that isn't one core, that's multiple cores. And so it's not just one processor, but it's the ability to stack processors and to process that type of information. It has moved forward so exponentially that, you know, they wanted to know, and this was like whether or not we can order and execute 1 million operations per second by the year 2000. We actually achieved that goal in 1998. And we have now passed that goal by 2,000%.
That's crazy.
1 million operations per second, 1,000. How many I mean, granted, the neurological system that we have in our brain is huge in processing all types of data, visual, sense, nervous system things and all that. But it's almost incomprehensible just how much data these systems are able to process now, and the speed. And that's something else we'll talk about later is connectivity, the speed of the internet, and how some systems around the world are far more advanced in other areas of the world. We think we've got fast internet, but we're falling behind, folks.
Well, and that's, I was going to touch on, that's kind of technology as a whole right now, is we're kind of going through another industrial revolution currently. Technology is just taking a giant leap forward. It happens usually between every 100 or every 200 years. There's usually either a great invention that revolutionizes many other, or like an industrial revolution like we had in England and in France and in the United States with railway and
transportation,
steam
and
power,
steel,
all that great, and steel.
Like mass-produced products that can be used to replicate. Yeah, it was a big deal.
And then again with like the A-bomb and with Einstein and all that. But now we're going through another one right now. I really have to give my props to people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, because I mean they're the Einsteins and the Da Vincis of our time. And these men, I mean, Steve Jobs obviously dead now, but what he accomplished in 46 years or something.
He's still alive.
He might be. He could
cryogenically frozen. He's up there with Disney right now.
Well, I was gonna say he and Walt Disney are probably next to each other. Their heads frozen.
I hope so.
It's cool
because I want to see him come back in a Futurama episode.
they got to do Steve Jobs, man.
He's gonna have to pilot the Express.
Oh, Planet Express.
Planet Express. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, gotta love Steve Jobs. I mean, the man. I think he revolutionized the way we communicate, and I don't know. I think that's a huge thing, because communication is pretty much everything. I mean, it's how we transfer information, and I think he totally revolutionized that.
Well, he started with something that was the ability for a person to own and operate a computer to process data. Something simple as Word and creating some art, and then he hit this paradigm shift in the late 90s, turn of the century, and realized, there's other ways to store digital media. These records, these CDs, these acetate tapes are archaic compared to a small digital file that can be stored on a device. Let's call it an iPod. And who hasn't heard the term iPod? I don't care what country you're in, Santa Claus, Jesus, and iPod, basically. And it's incredible, and this is part of where our conversation is going, to the advent of the BitTorrent and the collapse of the record labels that had invested so much time in their products and their people and trying to produce. And then, what was the name of that website? I forget.
I was going to say, let's go ahead and jump in at the Napster. I would say Napster was the first one that I experienced as a kid. When I refer to myself as a kid, I mean, 15, 16, 17, late 90s. I didn't use it as much, but I had a lot of friends that did. But I actually have to give Napster so much credit for, there was so much music that I found through Napster that I had friends passing me CDs constantly. And I was going...
Things you wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise.
Where did you find this band? How have I never heard of them? They're similar genre to this band that I really like. They're from the same area as this band that I like. How did I never come across this band? It's like, oh, well, they're a local band. They never really got that big. But I was listening to such and such band on Napster. I started trading some files with a friend of mine from Fullerton, and suddenly I'm a fan of this band now.
Shlabam. There you go.
And that wouldn't playing in bands in the early and mid '90s. I mean, that was impossible for you to get your name out like that.
It's one of the things that started this little. Well, it's not little anymore. This broadcasting medium, KXSR.net. It is dedicated to exposing people to music and stories and all types of things, just enlightening. And obviously, that's why it's relevant to our show today, the internet. Without it, be it through mobile devices, be it through your laptop or desktop computer, you wouldn't be listening and participating, whether through a Skype call or the music that's submitted to the station that we're playing right now behind us.
Yeah, I mean, all of this music that you're hearing behind us, these are artists who've uploaded their music to the radio station over the last 14 years. And it's ridiculous.
There is a phenomenal talent and group out there, just with people that don't have the means and the resources to make the right connections. And, it's kind of a blessing to be able to do something like this. I feel, I'm honored.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. I love doing this stuff. It's so much different than being in a band and music and playing music and trying to get your name out there. I lived that lifestyle, but I gotta say I like being.
Let's talk about it. I mean, how did the internet and your interest in music, directly impact the path of some of the things that you did? I mean, I know the answer to these, but how significant was the internet in the exploration of your music and your vision, connecting to your demographic, booking events and stuff? I mean, because this was a little before it was mainstream. I mean, people were online, but they weren't, there's not Facebook and Twitter tags on the bottom of every commercial.
Like I would say in the late 90s, one of the bands I was in, we made a website, but I mean, you weren't getting 1 million hits. I mean, the only places getting 1 million hits were big bands. And so I don't think the internet really helped me then. I think it was things like MySpace and forum, social media that actually added music players to the profiles, and then actually made it where it's
poor MySpace. Here's the abandoned internet amusement park.
Poor MySpace. How much did Tom bank on that shit?
About 350 mil. Launch.
Yeah,
something like that.
There's no such thing as poor MySpace.
Hey, I met my.
It's still a great forum for music. If you want to find, actually, where I find a lot of bands and where Mr. Anlou finds a lot of bands, actually to this day, is if you go on MySpace, dust off that old profile, man. Dust off that profile. Remember that password.
You think it's going to make a resurgence?
I doubt that, but I think it will remain a vigilant forum for unsigned bands to showcase their music. I really think that when you go there now, because they still have the same kind of player where you can put in like the most obscure genre you can think of. Put in porn music, and you'll have bands that play that kind of music. Put in like electro funk, like anything, and you'll be connected to hundreds of bands in that genre. It's still set up and organized very well, but as a social media form, like a Facebook or a Twitter, there's no way. There's no way they could ever get back to that level. But musically, I think they're still better. I mean, because Facebook doesn't really have that. I mean, I can post like YouTube videos and stuff, but I don't really have like I can make a Facebook page for my band, but I don't know, man. MySpace, it has like the player on there, and it's more like you feel like you're going to a web page, whereas with Facebook, it's like you're going to their Facebook page. You're not going to their web page.
So that brings me to what I wanted to ask you. Top 5 most influential websites that changed your life, either by career, personally, or just via information. Uporn.com, because still Hamster.
Yeah, or Ampland. Used to be Ampland.
Yeah.
Free porn, basically, like all the free porn sites ever. I would say that's of the last 10 years.
I'm not talking about increasing the quality of your life. I'm talking about what you actually learned the most from. And if you really learn that much from those sites,
for me, it's got to be Wikipedia is huge because I do a lot of science fiction reading, and if you have a question about a character in a book, the thing about Wikipedia, if you don't know, is that you can pretty much go on there and change anything. So that's why most colleges won't let you use it as a resource. Oh, hey, there it is.
There it is.
Most colleges won't let you use it as a resource because it's not necessarily 100% accurate. because it's written by, the fans. But, yeah.
All right, I'm going to throw one out there, and I know it sounds stupid, but I'm a film aficionado, and IMDb
huge. Love that
helped
website.
change how I drew connections and lines between films and features, television, all that stuff. Really made such an impactful difference on my life. What are these actors and actresses doing that I remember from my childhood, or someone that just did an amazing performance? What are they up to, and where did they get their skill? Who do they work with? It's amazing. You start drawing some of the lines, and it brings me to a different site. I'm not going to say it yet, but you'll understand the analogy when I'm done.
I would say the biggest thing for my wife and I with IMDb is my wife being in the entertainment industry and myself. We constantly are either running into celebrities out in the field or watching, like a pilot or something. And the number one question that always comes up is, where the F do I know this person from?
Right.
What other
what,
IMDb?
I know. What have I seen?
And you're like, The Rock with Sean Connery, and you'll look it up, and you'll be like, freaking Gregory Sporlander. God damn it. Right? That's who that is.
That's who that. I know. I've seen that guy. And, he played that effing guy, and he was the good guy in this or the bad guy.
Exactly. And then it just opens your whole world up. So I would definitely have to agree with you on the IMDb tip.
Well, my second site, which, like I said, is kind of like drawing lines and connections, is a genealogy-based site called Ancestry.com.
My aunt and my grandmother, that's where they tracked a lot of our ancestry. I think I was telling you this not too many years ago, was that we're finding out that there's more Scottish in our blood than Irish. And it's because of Ancestry.com.
I always knew you were Dirty Scott. Get out of my Irish face.
Still all Irish on my mom's side, but my dad's side of the family,
we all wear kilts, right, and play bagpipes, so it's all cool.
Pretty much.
I'm just kidding. And we love drinking, and that's okay. I found out not too long ago, and this is through my mother's side of the family, that I'm actually Jewish. Believe it or not.
A little bit of Jewish in there, huh?
It's not a little bit. It is like a very prominent royal line that is only passed through the mother.
Yeah.
From women to women.
Yeah,
now,
your mother has to be Jewish.
If she is, then you are. But if I were to have a kid, they wouldn't be, and I wouldn't pass the gene on to them. But I just found that out, and saved about $25,000 fixing my house, working with Israelis. Thank God.
And there you go. Best place to be a Jew, Los Angeles.
When you find out little things like that, hey, take advantage of it. But so we talked about Wikipedia. We've talked about IMDb. We've mentioned Ancestry.com. These are pretty big sites. The 600-pound elephant sitting in the room has got to be Facebook.
I would say Facebook and Google are the two most used, or I would say, you'll know the correct term for this, or startup page. When you click your enter browser here, most people's first page that comes up,
search engine.
Yeah,
the search engine is where.
But I mean, like
99.99%.
when you click on like your Safari icon, what is the first web page that comes up? What do you have that set to?
Blank.
See, but
when I type in a search term, if it's not a .com, it brings up a Google result. I have Google set as my primary search engine.
I think most people do either Google, Yahoo Mail, or Facebook. I would say would be the first page that people look at in the morning.
Google has freaking chokehold on it, and we're talking MMA, Bruce Lee taking no prisoners kind of. It's Google is hardcore. Now they absorbed one of the next most influential sites, and we'll touch back on Facebook, but you mentioned it earlier, and it's a little company called YouTube.
Huge influence.
The ability, they gave you such disastrous hits as The Beaver and The Beaver. I think it's the same thing, but those are some really hard advocating people. They are diehard about their YouTube channels and what they get to do. And I'm not slamming them because guess what? Chances are better not. You may actually be watching this on a YouTube channel right Now,
check the icon on the top right and see if it says YouTube.
And that's okay. And the ability to shoot, excuse me, one of the things that I was going to say, the most complementary to the internet is the advent and the speed at which smartphones have evolved.
Oh, definitely. I was not fortunate enough to get a first gen. I got a second gen phone, and then I've been, kind of upgrading here and there. But yeah, I pretty much have had most of the different iPhones, and I like them, and they've definitely evolved with each new one, and same with like the operating systems.
Well, the thing is how many pictures. That more pictures are taken on iPhones in like a week or a month than there are on all other cameras in like a year or something. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I totally believe that.
I mean, don't quote me on that particular statistic, but it was something like more pictures are taken in a week on an iPhone. I don't know, man. I'm getting excited. I want to talk about some more stuff, but it's time to cut out, right?
Basically, I moved to commercial breakup so we could get a beer. So I'm going to go get a beer and go some commercials.
At Healthy You Herbs, we are an authorized new body distributor. We offer only 100% all-natural herbal products with no additives or preservatives at the lowest possible prices. We pride ourselves on providing the best products for your well-being and to ensure you have access to essential supplements vital to the human body. Visit us online at healthyyouherbs.com. Healthy You Herbs, your health depends on us.
Katori Magazine has been reborn. New articles, new features, for those who demand to stay on top with what you care about. Music, art, politics. KatoriMagazine.com. A different kind of magazine for a different kind of generation. Katori Magazine.
My name is Mighty, last name Boys, and I'm riding on a mountaintop on my trusty horse. I never leave my radio at home. I've Excite Radio on my phone. Listen live, interact, stay connected.
ExciteRadio.com.
We specialize in printing and product manufacturing for advertising and marketing. We look forward to serving your business's printing, mailing, and marketing requirements with competitive prices and superior customer service. To learn more about what we can do for you and your local business, visit us online at promedia.la or call 818-947-1605. promedia.la. Carl Mahoney was born in the wrong era. He should have lived in the 50s alongside Humphrey Bogart and Marilyn Monroe, when bona fide stars were elusive, where presidents were worshipped and smoking was still cool. With his camera lens, he is able to capture that old Hollywood charm while smothering it with edge and sex appeal. His photographs tell a story of mystery and misconduct.
He is the most interesting man in the world.
His style and versatility makes him a brilliant headshot photographer for actors as well as live music performances. He looks for the essence of the artist and then helps create the atmosphere for them to comfortably live. Mahoney shifts effortlessly from studio to location, to the stage for the live band performances or to the actor's home for headshots with the utmost ease and professionalism, producing images worthy of promoting you, your film, or your band. For questions or to schedule your next photo shoot, visit StudioMahoney.com.
You can now hear this show on multiple stations around the world. Thank you to our many partner stations and syndicates.
Motion graphics, visual effects, 3D animation, DVD and Blu-ray menu design, web development, your full production powerhouse. Go to thezoofx.com or call 818-535-4025 to schedule a consultation for your next project. Welcome to the Zoo, the Zoo FX.
Are you looking for original music? Visit ExciteRadio.com. We feature only unsigned original artists for your listening pleasure. We offer independent artists, labels, venues, and fans a place to showcase their music, sell merchandise, and much more. Come check us out at ExciteRadio.com. The world is listening.
It is better to die on your feet than live a lifetime on your knees.
I don't know. I think that depends on what sex you are. Wow. How do you really feel?
You know what Family Guy really got me the other night was it's a total old one, but it was like the Zales commercials that used to have like the silhouettes, and it's like dun, dun, dun,
She'll
dun,
pretty
dun.
much have to.
Yeah, she'll pretty much have to.
I knew you knew
that
I mean,
one.
off the top.
I just so great.
I draw so many parallels in life between Family Guy and South Park. It's not even funny. I can tie almost anything to that, which is a really cool thing. South Park Studios, you can go on there and pretty much, you don't have to buy their DVDs. You can go in and watch their shit for free.
The Michael Jackson episode was on the other day, and my favorite thing about that South Park episode...
Blanket. That's my blanket.
But he's like, when everyone's accusing him, he goes, that's ignorance.
That's ignorant.
You're
just ignorant. You're just ignorant.
Oh, that's the ignorance. And just the way they had... I'm sure it was... Trey Parker that was voicing him, because Matt Stone does few voices, but Trey pretty much does majority of the celebrity voices.
Yeah.
And he just nailed it. I mean, you're sitting there listening to it, and you're seeing the the fake Michael Jackson that they have up there, and it just, the voice is so perfect.
Wow. Sheer comedy.
So we were talking about the iPhone and the evolution of the iPhone, and kind of how the internet and the iPhone have, or how, I would say how the internet has helped shape the iPhone's evolution.
It has. Well, that's the thing is, that the internet connectivity revolution. Boy, we are kind of a instant gratification greedy race.
Don't even get me started on instant gratification generation, dude. That's
we
my
want
kids.
it, and we want what we want now.
Yeah.
Gimme.
Oh, yeah, but like my nieces and nephews who are like 10 and 14 and 12, yeah, I mean, to see how they reacted to the internet, I mean, they've, like, here's something that my buddy is always talking about, how The Simpsons pretty much came out in like the 80s. So if you were born in like 1990, you've never lived in a world without The Simpsons. Same with like South Park. South Park coming out like halfway through the
97.
90s. So if you were born in like 94, 95, you've pretty much never lived in a world without South Park. Like we did. We were 80s kids, dude. We watched
I was graduating high school when South Park came out, and it started at a Tool concert of all places, believe it or not. That's the first time the Jesus versus Satan boxing thing at a Tool concert. And they got so much acclaim for it, it ended up becoming a network, cartoon for the masses. It's pretty remarkable.
So wild. But I don't know. I think the internet has really had a huge impact on all that. I mean, like you just said, South Park Studios. Where else can you just watch the entire series? We're talking like 15, 16 seasons, whatever they're at now.
Ridiculous, yeah.
You can watch every single episode for free at their website.
And all you have to do is just put in your email and a password, even if it's a crappy one, and you're watching South Park. You got a cool little, Apple laptop. You just plug in the little mini display port to HDMI, and there you go. It's on your 65-inch LED TV, and you're streaming pretty much stuff for free. It's pretty remarkable.
And that's like with your Netflix and your Hulu and things like that too, which are doing it legit. I guess maybe what we can talk about is, how do you feel about like the BitTorrent sites compared to the legit sites where pay us $7.99 a month and we'll let you stream all these movies and all these great TV shows.
I was gonna say tie it in as well to the fall of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video.
I worked for Blockbuster for 3 years. It was one of my first jobs. The DVD revolution also, they did not jump on that boat as fast as they should have, and I think that was the first kind of kick to the knee, and they were Blockbuster was on a crutch after that ever since, and then the digital revolution just killed them.
Yep, they did not get on the train at the right stop, and they got left behind.
And I think Hollywood Video was even before that. I think Blockbuster tried to hold on. They copied Netflix and said, hey, we'll deliver videos to your front door then. You don't want to come in? Sure, we'll deliver videos, blah, blah, blah. But if they had done a website that did the same thing as Netflix, they might have been able to crush Netflix.
I feel so 90s right now.
Oh, dude, but doesn't it feel great?
Are you looking up at the screen?
Yeah, doesn't it feel great?
Yeah, we got Blockbustered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good old yellow and blue, true.
I still have one of my shirts. I kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why the hell not, right? Memories.
It is.
I got all my uniforms. Like, that's why every Halloween it's like, oh, I could be a FedEx guy. I can be a Starbucks barista. I can be a fucking Blockbuster employee.
So, did it help or did it hurt? And these are some of the questions that I want to explore. Perhaps, one of the things to kind of take into consideration is out with the old, in with the new. If something's antiquated, with what is needed. And did we prematurely kick Blockbuster? Did we throw the baby out with the bathwater and welcome in Netflix and do that kind of thing? Or did we, what about these red box units that are now basically it is 100% automation, zero customer service? But
I would say Blockbuster actually tried to jump in on that train as well. I think they tried to jump on every medium, and the one that they should have done is online, and that was the one they shied away from. They still tried to keep it organic. They wanted you to like physically be touching like the DVD. So it was like, we'll mail it to your house. You can do like the red box type thing.
A couple of me's. I'm really cool, man.
Oh, nice.
I'm a twin today.
It's double Sean.
Sorry. Double mint gum.
But
anyway.
yeah, it's, I think Blockbuster totally missed, as we said, they missed the boat. They tried to do it the organic way, and I think they failed, where Netflix and Hulu totally succeeded, where it's kind of that thing we were talking about with Steve Jobs, where they don't want the tangible disc anymore. They don't want the player. They'd rather have just one medium that streams everything.
And I here's my honest to God, I think it all has to come down to one simple thing, and it's one word, but it's called speculation. And whether or not these companies are able to speculate whether or not a new technology is going to either flourish or fail. And it's got to be scary when you've spent millions, if not billions of dollars tooling up a system to burn discs or to mass produce something, and then to realize that some kid in his college dorm can dump a file on a server and thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people can just grab it. And there's no sale. There's no profit. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
Well, and I think that's the first time we really saw that, obviously, was with Napster and obviously Metallica. They were kind of the front runner band there that was saying, well, look, man, we spent 9 months in a studio. We spent millions of dollars.
Yeah.
We're trying to get back on our investment.
Lars in particular, right?
Lars was the front runner saying, look, we put our heart and soul into this album. Whether arguably, it's Metallica, whatever. But they're saying they spend a lot of time and money on the album, and they want to make on their investment.
Master of publishing, pulling your cash.
Pretty damn much.
No. And yeah.
But I really saw Lars's point of view though. As an artist, as a writer, as a musician, and
that's one of the reasons why so many bands were so afraid to put their music out there, because they're like, well, if it's out there, it's gonna get stolen. No one's gonna spend money. And
then what's the point of being a musician? But obviously the first thing you want to do is you want to create music that people enjoy. But if that's your job, you got to make money.
No, we all got to keep the utilities and the roof over the head.
Yeah.
Granted, not many of us have a 20,000 square foot mansion in Miami with a full recording studio and a gold-plated pool like Lars, but
well, here's a perfect time then to look at someone.
Where do you start drawing the line between you've made enough money and give to people, or where's that line drawn?
Well, if you look at the documentary Downloaded, that basically focuses on Napster and other BitTorrent sites and things like that, they talk to Dave Grohl, of Nirvana and Foo Fighter fame. Okay, the guy lives here in freaking Reseda, in a house that probably cost him $400,000. He doesn't live in some giant mansion. Yeah, he's got the pool and he's got the recording studio. The last 2 Foo Fighters albums were recorded on an 8-track from like 1984 because they were trying to get back to that sound. They said that Pro Tools sounded too digital and they wanted to sound like a punk band.
They wanted to go back to the Tascam.
But when you look at Dave Grohl, I mean, this guy, he's all about file sharing. He's like, yeah, I want to make money, but I mean, I'm going to make money. I'm going to make back on my investment. From what I put in, because I'm in the Foo Fighters, yes, people are going to buy my album, but if it gets to someone and they don't pay for it, he doesn't care because he's all about the music. He's just about getting his music out there. And they make a shit ton when they tour. And that's why I want a lot of those big bands
that's where
to stop.
almost all of the money is in touring and merchandising.
These crybabies.
I don't care how fast your internet is, you aren't downloading a free fucking concert shirt. You're not downloading that margarita that you just paid $19 for at the concession stand when you went to see them live.
Can we get Dos Equis to pay us $5,000 every time I take a drink from this bottle?
We could try, but you might have better luck playing pickup sticks with your butt cheeks.
Oh!
Yeah, there's a pretty visual
That's
for
a
you
great
folks.
one, though. I like that.
Oh, man. It is always so just intellectually stimulating when we start getting into some of these things because, where the internet has taken us, where we're going, and I think that's kind of where I would like to start taking the rest of the show. I mean, it's not mine, but, what do you see as being the most likely thing? And, if there's any radio listeners out there that would like to comment and share and have any ideas of where the next media, I hate to say bubble, but like with the stock market or the housing market or whatever, there's bubbles and then they pop and then they bubble and then they pop. But where's the next great innovation out there? I'll take you offline. I'll take your idea and then I'll not give you credit for it. I promise. I'm just kidding. I would like to know your thoughts and feelings. The number is 213-973-2977. That's 213-973-2XSR. Call on in right now and let us know what you're thinking. I would really like to hear from web developers, graphic designers, people that run digital broadcasting stations. I don't know. I'm just kind of going out on a limb here. But anybody that might have some type of direct, I make my living off of working on the internet. Be kind of cool to hear from you and see what it is that you think, where you think the internet needs to go. And is it about something more serious? Is it about talking about, product sales? Is it about customer service? Is it about social media? I would love to hear from you, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, where the internet's going, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't actually predict what's going to happen, but what I think is going to happen,
based off of what's happened so far, since, let's just say 1995, the last 20 years, from the general search engine to the media and film and data exchange, broadband internet, and everything kind of consuming our everything. I'll take a shot in the dark, but I'm just curious where you think it's going. I think I know where it's going, but I am a know-it-all.
The conspiracy theorist in me, and in basically going with
in truth spirit.
Yeah, in spirit of the truth. Honestly, I mean, with Snowden and all that fun stuff, we don't have time to get into all that. If you don't know, Google it. Basically, he kind of tried to blow the whistle on the NSA, but basically he let everybody know that you are being watched and everything that the websites you go to and blah, blah, blah. That's where I see it going. I mean, Big Brother, one world government, we can talk about a lot of things like that, but ultimately, I think the internet's been in the control of
I'm going to go on a limb. Are you talking about like spy and intelligence is where it's really going?
I think ultimately it's going to be very limited. Like, I think our access to it right now is almost at its peak, and we will slowly start having our rights taken away from us. I think YouTube is the first kind of vision of that, with like, oh, you can't play this video now because it has like a Taco Bell logo in the back, and they're going to get mad. Well, so it's just, I think the screws will be tightened very slowly, but you will start to see your freedom decrease, and eventually the internet, I think, will mostly be used for military and business.
Well, some laws have been changed about sites that are authorized and unauthorized, and there's a bunch of stuff happening. But if I may be so bold to go out on a limb, thank you, Colonel, I appreciate the permission. I think the next plateau that we're going to hit is going to be a biological, technological infusion. I'm talking about digital storage in an organic device like the brain. The ability to capture what the eye sees.
Digitally. A true iPhone.
A true iPhone.
I mean, I've always thought about having a chip implanted. Just really quick, everyone already knows this if you listen to the show, but about 15 years ago...
Hold on, hey, what the fuck is that? You got a chip on your shoulder. Oh, I'm sorry.
In Mexico, General Motors, the one that they moved down there, basically offered the chance to have a chip implanted into 5,000 of its employees. 500 volunteered for it. One guy actually even hacked his chip. They have GPS and everything in them. Everything from your driver's license number to credit card numbers, things like that. I mean, they were already doing this 15 years ago. Think of the technology they have now for chips. So my guess is, yes, you will be able to watch YouTube on like a heads-up display.
Contact lens type of full visual, night vision in your contact, assess threats, where even the government could start tapping in, and it's going to read license plates from people's contact lenses that are processing data, and they'll find stolen cars or things like that. But I really...
if you had a chip inside you that had GPS, I could find you wherever you are unless you pull that chip out.
That sounds a little bit like a little Iron Maiden song. What was it called? Number of the Beast? Barcode on the wrist and a chip in the head.
Ready to go.
But what types of benefits could people start to see from this? And right off the bat, I see things like people with cardiovascular problems, neurological problems, and other serious medical conditions that can't be monitored unless they are hardwired to equipment right now. If we were able to develop some equipment that worked, that could retain data, that could be interpreted and analyzed by specialists, professionals, doctors, whatever. But yet we always got to come back to theft, violations. Can that information be hacked? Could you imagine how many of you out there in Radioland have had a computer virus? It's a virus. Yeah. Could you imagine what something like that would be like if it was actually interfaced directly into your cerebellum, into your nervous system? You get the wrong virus and you're doing the moonwalk like Michael Jackson.
Well, and it's also...
You get the right virus and you're shaking on the floor like Keith Richards.
But like they already have these scanners where people can say scan your passport and get your social security number and other numbers like that. I can only imagine
RFID technology.
Yeah, I can already see that. Or if I've got a chip in my head that's got everything from my medical records to anything, and someone can hack even just a portion of that information. I mean, it's like you might as well walk around with your laptop open and all your passwords logged in.
So would the benefits outweigh...
So there would have to be a lot of security around that technology as well.
I foresee a huge business in secured socket layer technology, data encryption.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, it's going back to, what was that, the Enigma? Being able to hide what you're really trying to say and transmit it wirelessly. Yeah, data encryption, I think, is going to be on the forefront of the most important parts. What's one of the biggest fears of people out there right now? Identity theft. that they're going to lose their bank, their 401k, they're going to get hacked in, shut down, blown out. I mean, if you've never had it happen to you, you may not understand, but if you have, it's a combination of feeling like you've been robbed and raped at the same time. It is a complete violation of, basically somebody trying to assume you and then just doing awful things. And if we can't learn how to encrypt and save people from having to have an experience like that, that's kind of the threshold that needs to be gained. There needs to be an equal amount of security for that, and I can only imagine the logistical and legal implications of having hardware. Could that be censored? Could it be used as evidence against you? There's a little film, goes a while back, it was a little creative, but I think it was called The Final Cut, with Robin Williams, where children and people are born with these chips in their heads that record basically from birth to death, and these people called editors end up kind of putting together a montage of their life for their funeral. But if something like that ends up coming into an existence, how much control or rights would you have over what could be shared? Could it be used against you in a court of law? And that's where we start getting into some real interesting gray zones about whether or not technology is moving too fast, if there's sufficient security. I mean, there's just a whole lot out there.
I think security is definitely the biggest issue. I think that's the thing that most people are going to be afraid of, definitely. Because if that information's out there, then it can be reached, by any means. I mean, nothing is 100% secure. So I would say that would be my biggest qualm with it, is that, I mean, it would seem like your identity would be easier to steal. Having some, chip that, say it's got, your credit cards on it, stuff like that, so you can use it like the grocery store. You can just, scan your wrist, and it brings up, 5 credit cards on a screen, and then you can just pick one and go. How is that information just not so readily available? I mean, with how easy it is to get credit cards off the internet, I can imagine that if we had the internet basically in our brains, that it just, I don't know, it'd be too easy.
Is that blowing your mind, man? It's blowing my mind.
I definitely...
would it blow, or would it blow your mind? I don't know.
I'm definitely very against, artificial intelligence and
You're
chips.
against artificial intelligence?
Oh, God, yeah. Haven't you seen fucking Terminator movies? God damn, man.
Yeah,
even Stephen Hawking is against AI.
They get rid of all the worthless fucking decaying meat bags. It's totally cool, man. It's sterile. It's logical. It's
if the machines become self-aware, we're all dead.
So what? God creates man, man creates machine, machine kills man. What's next?
Well, no, man kills God, creates machines, machines kill man.
Yeah, something like that. You got the vibe of what I'm trying to say. What's so wrong with that? It's called evolution.
Natural selection.
What the hell are we here for if not to improve upon our own intelligence awareness? Could we create machines that have tolerance that far exceed what a mammal or any other life form could possibly tolerate? And could they live on for, if not centuries, eons? And is that where it's going? I don't know. These are the questions that we ask ourselves at Truth.
Yeah, I mean, downloading your consciousness into a machine, it's remarkable, and I applaud those who seek that technology.
What was the first movie that did that? I think it was Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, that one's crazy, where they had the chips in their brains, and they could store information and
well, they just had a special on the movie. I think it was called Elysium. Did you see Elysium? And Jodie Foster.
No, I didn't see that.
It had oh god, I always forget the guy's name.
Matt Damon.
Well, it had Matt Damon. No, but I'm thinking of the character that. Whoa, shit! It sounds like we got a caller on the line.
We do.
Why don't you go ahead and boost up that phone call level?
Which one's that one? This one?
The one that says phone.
That's the phone?
What's cracking, fellas?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. So, sounds like we got a techie on the line. So, so what's going on? You know, if you're in the IT world, you work around the web, you have experience in these types of things. Where do you think intertechnology, whether it be biological, neurological, or maybe just entertainment-wise, I mean, where is the next, like, real big step going to come from? I mean, if I'm going to buy some stock in a company, if I hear they're going to release a product, when do I want to buy?
Well, we're living in a material world, and I am a material girl. So I would say the next logical step for storage would be in heads of lettuce.
Heads of lettuce. Wow.
If they can make biofuels out of moss, they can put terabytes into lettuce. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Terabytes in your lettuce? That sounds dope.
Wow. You could eat your food and download like 12 years of education with a meal.
Band name, I don't know yet.
You're like, dude, I just downloaded Avengers. Like, what? I ate this salad, man, and now we got Avengers. Let's watch that shit.
That's how it's going to transmit information. It's a new way.
How long you been in the IT world?
Oh, I've never left.
Never left. So you were basically like one of us, born with a mouse in one hand, a keyboard in the other, made it real painful for mom when you were coming out.
Actually, my mom used to wrap me in motherboards and circuits, and it was very painful. She was a Christian woman, and I soon learned technology and Jesus did not mix.
Oh. That is interesting. You know, if you don't mind me saying, I actually, when I start looking at religion, and I'm not overly religious, but, you know, sometimes I ponder the concept of good and evil, God and the devil. And one of the closest things that I can actually point to is a technology that is right in front of us. The computer, the 0 and the 1, the on or the off, the good, the bad, and how we're able to store and process so much of what we do in our everyday life based on two factors, a 0 or a 1. And is it analogous to religion? Does it apply to good, bad, God or devil thing? I don't know.
On or off, but it all depends on the individual. If in third world countries, they're not thinking about computers. They're thinking about how are they going to move dirt from one side of the hill to the next. Just a little prairie farm with ponies. So, no, their technology is not a concern of theirs. However, the drones flying over their heads might be.
Well, yeah,
so,
those are dangerous.
In the eye of the beer holder.
Well, I'm holding the beer. I am the eye of, the beer holder.
You are the Ayatollah.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I do not need Department of Homeland Security coming here and knocking down the door. But,
knock, knock.
Yeah. Well, caller, thank you. Thank you for sharing your information via lettuce contribution. I hope other people out there are as intrigued by that. I mean, my mind is just splitting down the middle trying to put my head around that thing.
Going on
I don't know.
outside, I can't identify what.
I wonder what heads of lettuce with terabytes in them would taste like. Would it make the lettuce more crunchy?
I was going to say, would it be a little bit much? Yeah. Ba-doom-boom.
Iceberg humor, I get it.
Yeah, we pride ourselves in our one-liner cheesies, but that's okay.
Titanic, iceberg lettuce. I see where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's germane, but chances are if you're feeding me lettuce, it's probably romaine. But anyway.
Oh,
Rebecca Romaine.
Stamos. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, they're not married anymore. She married Chris O'Donnell, or one of those guys. Wait, not Chris O'Donnell, the other one.
Isn't that the guy on MSNBC?
Slinging yogurt.
Well, I appreciate you sharing some thoughts, man. I like hearing from other techs and just kind of hearing where they think this whole thing's going.
You want to know the truth? You want to know the serious?
This is the name of the show. It's called Truth. So share it.
All right. I'll spill the beans. Okay, about 20 years into the future, we're going to see a new technology emerge. We're not going to know where it came from. They're going to say Japan. It's going to be presented in the form of some sort of a device that you wrap around your wrist or it attaches to your skin. From there, it'll be able to read entire biofunctions, and you'll be able to control devices. You'll be able to be tracked. You'll be able to be marketed as you walk by a store. It's going to be complete control, and it's coming within the next 20 years.
Well, I definitely think that it's something to be...
You're talking about the storage part of it? I'll tell you all about that, too. You hear all these things about city-wide Wi-Fi. Why do you think they're doing that? They want to be able to track you wherever you go.
Why? Because are they trying to anticipate your spending patterns so they can market better to you? Or is this just another form of control, man? You know, turning these meat bags into copper tops.
Well, all I can say is soon being off the grid will truly mean being off the grid. We are facing a Terminator era with Russia right off our shores and China right in their back pocket. So beware.
Well, that brings us to a real good point.
Russia, North Korea, and China are going to be the new axis of evil, and it's going to be World War III, and we're all going to get effed.
Get effed in the A?
Because that's not new news.
Say the date, but it's going to be coming in the next 5 years. Just get your ass to Alaska, not to Mars.
Why Alaska?
No one gives a shit about it.
Because it has the word ass in it. He wants to get to that Alaska, okay?
There's a lot of oil in Alaska.
Drill for oil in Alaska.
That's where the oil will be. That's where they will reside. Then they will go after that next once they've depleted their resources.
It's not the Peroidi oil field on the north slope of Alaska has been basically roped off. Can't touch it, can't go by it. And the Peroidi oil field is the largest in our hemisphere. And
what's going on in Ukraine right now? You think that's all political? That's all about oil as well. The oil pipeline going to the EU and UK. They control the pipelines. Guess what? Russia wants that access back.
Well, it means money, right? Money means power. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get
the women.
Yeah.
Then you get the 14 wives that all have big noses.
Oh, yeah. You can keep the noses. Go see Dr. Schlafnick in Beverly Hills. Get that nose fixed first.
I don't know why that is.
Well, we can't discriminate. Well, we can, but it's up to them to fix it.
I'm just speaking the truth.
He is, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I want to hear. More people, more calls. Come on in. Let us know what you're thinking. Where's the internet going? What's it done for you? How did it change your life? What are the goods? What are the bads? Let's.
They're watching you right now. They're looking. Every word is recorded in a storage facility in Utah. They're monitoring and transcribing our entire conversation. NSA listens to all.
Well, yeah, I mean, the NSA, I'm sure, has been watching everything everyone does for quite some time. And my question is, I mean, can you really watch absolutely everybody? I mean, everybody going on the internet. Can you look at every single website that every single person's looked at? I mean, they must have a lot of employees.
Computers do all the work.
Facial recognition, audio recognition.
There's a Terminator out there.
There's algorithms to detect patterns, license plates, faces, and all this stuff that eliminate a lot of the guesswork out of what people are doing. Everything from ATM cameras at your gas station to lights, light cameras at the red lights to your Time Warner home security camera. They're watching you. They really are.
Yeah, that was one of the scary things about the new Xbox, Xbox One that a lot of gamers were upset about was that they said there's going to be a camera on it, and everyone got really excited at first, and then they were like, yeah, it's always going to be on, and it's going to be watching you. And it's just kind of like, why? Why do you need to be watching me? And I mean, there's cameras everywhere now. If a crime is committed, especially in somewhere like Los Angeles County, some camera caught something somewhere. I mean, every business now uses them for security. I mean, it's only a matter of time before literally the government has cameras on your television, cameras on your computer. I mean, like the camera that I'm looking into right now, I'm sure the NSA has access to all this crap and can look at it. I mean, not like that we're doing anything that they would even care about, but it's the fact that they have that option that scares me, and that it's the whole Big Brother thing.
I just ordered a pizza. It's delicious.
You did what?
Barbecue chicken pizza from Papa John's. Fucking delicious.
Dude, wait. The NSA just delivered a pizza to your house, and it's barbecue chicken?
My house, and it has a bug in the center.
like a roach, or like a digital bug that's recording your slurps and chomps?
They're intercepting packages in transit from the stores and putting them into regular transit, so your package may be delayed a day and may have a whole new set of electronics that you are never aware of.
That's incredible. I didn't know they had that technology. That's intense. I think I'm going to let our listeners listen to this DJ Cam song that's 5 minutes so that I can go smoke some pot and eat some barbecue chicken pizza.
Oh, don't lie. You know you want to just go ahead and drink some water and chew on some double spearmint gum.
Yeah, or go drink out of the toilet. Whatever comes first. All right, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes.
This is Truth on Excite Radio, KXSR.net.
That was DJ Cam, as only heard here on KXSR. All right. So we're back. You're listening to Truth. I am your host, the Colonel. And Sean and I were talking about kind of the internet. We talked about its inception, kind of where it comes from, and how it's sort of shaped world society over the several years that it's been around. I would say it's been fully rocking since like 94.
2 decades?
Yeah, I would say since like 94 is when people were really like, wait, I can just like type in a band and it takes me to like a fan page and I can learn all this stuff about them. Stuff like that. So, 20
It sounded like you had actually something, you know, a little more interesting than your average get to know you question. You had me curious. You're like, I know exactly what I want to ask you because, well, it hit some home. So, what's on your mind, man?
Basically, to take it in not a different direction, but our conversation, we've been talking about the internet pretty much. And before the break, we were talking about chips and, you know, government controlled.
Well, salsa and tortillas.
Yeah.
Beans, frijoles.
Guacamole, if you're from Oaxaca.
Especially if you like lettuce with little bits.
With little bits.
Yes.
But, so if that's the direction we're going, my question is, then the inevitable, I think, horizon to look at then is, what's your opinion, and I'm being totally honest about this because I know that you're a little liberal, and I want to see where you stand. What's your opinion on, like, total 1984 Big Brother, like, one world government?
Okay.
World. And I say that because, obviously, because of the chips and things like that, eventually we would be in some government-controlled, I don't want to go so far to say police state, like,
well,
no freedom.
I have an acronym for you. It's a 3-letter acronym, and it's something that most of our conservative listeners will remember. It was quoted. It was the ingenious brainchild of the late, great Ronald Reagan. But the acronym was SDI. Star Defense Initiative.
Not Skydancers International?
No. We hear laughing out in the other booth. No, we're not talking about...
I knew you would hear 10 laughing from the other side of the studio.
I mean, we're
through,
talking
3 walls.
through walls. He is just laughing a storm. No, we're not talking about Skydancers International. They are a wonderful company. Go to skydancersinternational.com for floating, and tables. You know, wacky, flailing arm, inflatable two-band. But no, I'm talking about the Star Defense Initiative, also known as a very well-known movie to most techies / nerds and geeks and whatever you want to quantify yourself as. Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Basically, and I find it so funny that Obama actually wants to build the Death Star. This shit is real, people. We don't know if we're going to be facing some intergalactic, I don't want to say foe, but we will eventually make contact, and we don't want to be firing 9mm pistols at someone who's firing firing lasers at us, or plasma, or God knows what kind of technology.
I mean, let's look at something even more simple than that. The rail system.
Yeah.
Rail technology is, for those of you that don't know, is when a specific particle is accelerated as close to the speed of light as possible. That one particle, when it even touches anything, has such, it's called kinetic energy, and is basically equivalent to like an asteroid hitting our planet. It just, there's no nuclear fallout. It is pure kinetic energy that is dispelled by these elements connecting with one another.
Most likely what killed the dinosaurs.
The spot in Mexico is very well what did it. I think that the concept, at least, let's call it the romantic concept of the Star Defense Initiative, or Star Wars, was to essentially remove the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, ICBM, from the arsenal of another superpower, from basically being able to threaten us. You can shoot your rocket, but we'll blow it out of the sky before it even gets close. And then guess what happens? Hell will rain down upon thee with furious anger. Those who tried to strike down my brothers. Kind of thing, you know.
Exactly.
A little Samuel L. Jackson with a little more flair and a little more heat. Yeah, like 12 million sunblock might not do the job. But that's the point behind it. It was supposed to eliminate long-range missile delivery systems, and in concept, it made a lot of sense. And the problem, I really think, was the technology hadn't caught up. I think we're still, and it's one of my favorite authors, but Mr. Sagan.
Yeah, everybody loves Carl Sagan.
I think we're living a little bit in Sagan land versus Reagan land. And I mean that. Where these, people of power said, well, shit, if it can be conceived, then it can be done. And this is what we're going to do. And yeah, didn't really think that one through all the way. And
to say the least.
Billions of dollars. I can't say it's all been wasted. One of the most influential contributors happens to be none other than the playboy of the 20s and 30s. Made a little film called Hell's Angels. But goes by the name of Howard Hughes. And he created one of the most powerful and has more satellites in orbit around Earth than any other independent satellite contractor combined. Hughes
that I did
Communications.
not know.
Yep. And they were they were responsible for helping with the Apollo missions. And they were with the why am I drawing a blank on the satellite that was sent out with the gold records that have the language on it? Oh god, somebody call me and remind me.
The SETI program, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the Carl Sagan. They actually hired Carl Sagan. Speaking of him, to basically put like the sounds of a crying child, the sound of running water, wind blowing through trees, and mathematical formulas, so that at some point in time, and this thing is well past Pluto, and it was in like the 80s. So I mean, this thing is out of our solar system. Might be able to live past our ability to, if our technology and our creativity doesn't help us to create a way to fold space.
Have you seen the whole thing, though? Here's my biggest problem with it. It shows like all of our vital organs. It's like, here, aliens, here's how you kill us.
Here's a diagram on...
here's where the heart
if
and
you were
lungs
a Terminator,
are. Stab here, please.
Yeah, I know. Well... One would think that if a civilization was advanced enough to be able to collect it, that they'd probably be past a technological adolescence where... But then again, you've got, fight or flight. You've got survival or, is there a chance that extraterrestrial intelligence that has a far more advanced internet... communicating through, to quote the vernacular of Star Trek, but like subspace and other ways to communicate in faster than light speedways. The amount of data and things that could be transmitted, it's a interesting theory. Would they use it against us, or would they use it to help us? I don't know. What do you think?
My ultimate opinion on extraterrestrials would take in a completely other show, which we can do next week if you want to just talk UFOs. And
I'm just talking about their
land.
use. What do you think the use of our understanding, our concept of internet technology, being able to connect to individuals, to communities, to large bases, would that be used, to benefit or to take us down? What do you think?
I would like to hope that, especially races like the gray aliens, the stereotypical, almond shaped eye, big head, like
The good guys, not the reptilians.
Yeah, the reptilians, those guys love the taste of human flesh.
Yeah, they
so
suck.
stay away from those guys. But the Greys, I think, are us. I mean, my 2 second
Future us, trying to help us from.
I think that we
beyond the Gravis.
Well, I think they're trying to speed our evolution, and I think that that's ultimately what did happen. Was they altered our DNA and sped up our evolution, and eventually we became them. And I think maybe there is some glitch in the matrix, so to speak, where they are currently. And coming back and visiting us in a more primitive form is helping them to figure out the theses that they need to correct whatever has gone wrong in their
Do you think that
civilization.
the implementation of the World Wide Web is a way to speed up the process of
definitely
our culture as a whole?
I think I think also alien abduction is a huge thing with the altering of the DNA. Oh, sweet, we got the horse. Oh.
Who let the horse out? Nay, nay. Yeah.
They told me, because I was kind of gone for a couple of months, I came back and I saw this horse in the background, and Anne Luke told me that was good luck. So that makes me really happy that 2 out of the 4 shows I've done since coming back, I've got the horse to come onto the show. So I must be doing something right.
Go buy a lotto ticket.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
I'll split it with you 90-10.
Okay.
You spend the money, I get the 90, you get the 10.
Yeah, there we go. That works.
I won't forget about you when I write my will.
I just want a ranch out in Montana. That's all I want. You can keep the rest.
Yeah.
But definitely, as I've always thought about aliens, I would like to hope, like Neil deGrasse Tyson and people like that who are way into the SETI program and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, we would like to hope that they have evolved past violence and that destroying us would not be beneficial to them. But I wouldn't. My whole thing is, I think that.
Well, what would you do? Let me ask you this. I mean, what would you do if your wife and your child were on a ship and it was either you or them?
Oh, I mean, obviously, I go.
If it comes down to resources,
Yeah,
something as
I
simple
mean,
as water and the
yeah.
ability to, process chloroform,
carbon dioxide and oxygen and I mean, obviously, I would give my life for my wife and 2 kids, no problem. But it's.
I said chloroform and I meant chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll.
Ones I use on the dates that aren't going so well. The other one I use on my plants in my garden. Sorry.
That'd be so awesome. You're just like, you know what? I don't like where this is going, and you just put a freaking handkerchief over her mouth. She passes out, and you just walk out without paying the bill.
It's chlorophyll. Don't worry.
She fucking wakes up to $100 bar tab.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. But no, seriously, I would like to hope that aliens would have evolved past that. But I also, my main thing, I think that they would enslave us in some way without us knowing it, which could be currently where we are now. We could already be enslaved or indebted to them in some way, and we are possibly some form of worker bee to them. That is definitely an esoteric.
I mean, pulling salt and gold and silver and copper out of the ground.
Precious metals and gems and things like that.
Where does all that shit really go when the we buy your gold?
Yeah.
Is that really going to the right alien? Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I think that, and we've actually had this discussion before. I mean, only for about 100 years did we really, for about 100 years now, do we really know how useful gold is. I mean, up until about 100 years ago, we'd never put an electrical current through it. We didn't realize that.
How important something called a conductor is.
Yeah, I mean, we were using other metals and stuff. I mean, we didn't. It's
all about the heavy metal, bro.
We didn't really consider, gold, and it's amazing how valuable it really is. And when you look at ancient cultures, especially like the Mayans, the Egyptians, and even like the Celts and the Irish, gold for jewelry and things like that, it is definitely one of the most precious. It is the most precious metal.
Why was it precious to them?
History.
Maybe they saw how precious it was to somebody else.
Exactly, and I think that they also try to emulate what they see, emulate their gods and things like that. That's why you see wings on a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that the creature they saw had angelic wings. They're just trying to identify that creature had flight.
Yeah.
and that thing, it flew. And who knows, maybe gold is a power source, and you can put it in a nuclear reactor and power a spaceship for 10,000 years with like a bar of gold. Perhaps that's why the United States melts a lot of our gold down and puts them into these gold bricks and then puts them in Fort Knox, because
I heard Fort Knox is empty, but that's again another
well, yeah,
show.
but I think it's because we already gave it all away. We've exhausted that resource. The gold has already been given away, and I have that is one of my theory. Well, it's not my theory, but a theory that I definitely believe a lot in, is that we are ultimately we were a worker race that was created to mine these precious metals, and as time has gone on, that with like the Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnon man, they weren't intelligent enough or coordinated enough to use the pickaxe, and so like the gray aliens have altered our DNA.
They gave us something called a thumb.
Yeah, and they eventually made it so that we were smart but not too smart, because they don't want a revolution on their hands either. They want us controlled. And I think ultimately that's the overall goal of an alien race. Were they to stumble upon a primitive civilization like us, they're going to look at how they can benefit from us. I think violence is definitely the last thing on their mind, like senseless violence. Oh yeah, let's just obliterate them. No, they want to know what they can gain from us.
We're kind of a natural resource, something indigenous that
definitely a humongous resource.
Yeah, let's just hope Mr. Graybeard or Grayskin and Almond Eyes isn't the next Stalin or Adolf Hitler that wants to dominate and consume every resource till it's gone, and then just hop this rock.
Well, and that's exactly what I was saying, is that they see promise. That I'm sure they've evolved beyond like currency, so they don't see dollar signs. They see oxygen, water,
just genuine
trees,
resources. That's,
But they don't want to be down there with a pickaxe doing the work themselves. So they say, hey, let's take this primitive race, the original, the Cro-Magnon man and stuff like that, Neanderthals, and put a needle in us and inject us with some chemicals and splice our DNA and get us to be more like them, really, because ultimately I think that's the overall goal, is to get us to evolve to that level, to get to the same level that they're at.
Well, let's bring it back kind of around. Can we use this miracle invention called the internet to help prevent that from happening? And if so, how? And I think we kind of started tapping into it. The importance of security.
The importance of security, because we're sharing so much information, but I think that's also what will help what we're just talking about. Do
you think our simplistic algorithms are any match for a computer system that can computate, moving at the speed of light or damn near close to it?
No, I mean, there's no way the human brain can do the complex mathematics of a supercomputer or something like that. I mean, but I think what separates us from computers is the ability to reason. I think with computers, at least where we are now with technology, the computer it doesn't have emotions. It can't.
I was gonna say I would put it as simple as the ability to feel right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Reason. It can't realize what's real, what's wrong. It's going to go with what's logical, and that's what separates humans from, I think, many other creatures on the planet. I mean, that's what separates us from apes. Even is I don't know. I mean, well, I'm not saying that an ape isn't going to feel good or evil. But with them, it's based off of like instinct, whereas I feel humans, we have a choice. We're sentient. We are taught right from wrong.
Are we taught, or do we? Because I just saw a very
that's
interesting
the great debate. That's Hobbes and
big
Thoreau
thing about how people, children, and we're talking like 8, 9, 10 month, 1-year-olds are put in front of a camera, and one doll has their kind of hair and their skin color they have, and then the other one is different, and when they pick one they get a reward when they pick the other, and then they end up scolding it and grounding it and showing aggression towards it. It's something that's inherent into identifying to something that is similar to you. And it's definitely off topic, but it was just
that's one of the greatest
fascinating
debates
thing.
between Thomas Hobbes and Thoreau.
Are we a product of environment or of genetics?
Yeah, and the way they put it was, are children born evil and taught to be good, or are they born good and taught to be evil? That's always been a huge debate amongst humans. Is, are we taught to be bad, or are we inherently bad, and we're actually are we born with the instinct to the Darwinist instinct, the will to survive? Are we taught, kill or be killed? Is that the inherent instinct? But especially with where society is now, we've been so dumbed down that it's there's no longer that survival instinct. It's now more of a do unto others as you would have them do unto you attitude. But were this 3,000 years ago, it would be,
we'd be Hebrew and digging the pyramids.
Well, or we'd be stabbing each other with spears so I can get what you got. I guess the question is, have we lost that killer instinct?
I don't know if you've watched the news lately. I don't think we've lost that instinct. I think we've started to misappropriate that instinct into other outlets in ways that...
Well, it's no longer survival. Now it's, you're a different religion than me, so I'm going to put a bomb in your church.
People that get frustrated, they get boiled up. Talk about information overload, and next thing you know, they're on a rooftop, with an AK-47 or a high-powered rifle, and they're clipping people. Why? Where's
chemical imbalance?
Something. And that takes me to our close to our last topic, one of information, probably next to the internet, the most profound comprehension and processing is that of the human genome, the DNA. We talked about Ancestry a little bit and, the Genome Project. But when we were able to start processing information and break down complete DNA sequences of individuals and start cloning people, things changed. And there are laws. There's very few countries where you can clone a mammal, because there's all kinds of religious implications. And I want to know, how you feel about, let's call it the Freedom of Information Act. Would you like to be able to access your DNA information, or allow somebody else to? Would you be opposed
with Ancestry.com, giving a drop of your blood and them telling you where your blood comes from?
Not just that, but what if a loved one wants to have you cloned and brought back to life if you were in a tragic car accident? I don't know. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's one of the most next to the universe and how it all works and dark matter and all that stuff. But the human genome is one of the most complicated and most sophisticated things in that we comprehend. And I'm just curious what you think about that.
As I had mentioned earlier, I'm very anti-AI, and so in going with that same theme, I'm very anti-cloning. I think I don't want to say playing God, because if you know me at all, my religious views are really fucked up. So I don't really care about it offending Jehovah, the God of the Israelites. That's not what I mean by playing God. I mean that we were created by something somewhere, be it a Big Bang or a deity. I'm not going to tell you what I believe. I'm just saying, I'm using that term, playing God. I'm not going to get into fate. I'm not going to get into anything like that. I'm just going to say, to me, it's just wrong.
What about a couple that loses a child in infancy, and the child hasn't even grown up, and, the odds of them being able to be replaced by a genetic copy, almost a twin, if you will. Would it not make the life of the family that had the traumatic loss better? Would that creature, that human, that mammal, that bag of meat, would it be any less welcome?
I'm not saying that it wouldn't be any less welcome.
And you know I'm pushing buttons here.
But where I come from, I'm an esoteric Satanist, and ultimately the reason I would say that I'm still against it is because I don't use the word fate, but basically it's that's what was supposed to happen to them. They were supposed to lose that child, and the experience of losing that child and the pain they go through would make them stronger, and that's kind of what was meant to happen. And I see cloning as this like see-through Band-Aid. If that makes sense. Kind of this, just like it doesn't really solve the problem, and then you're not allowing them to go through what they were supposed to go through.
So let me digress here a level. What about cloning organs for people that have not yet died? A replacement heart, lungs, liver,
that one, and
a spinal cord,
and the stem cell research. I'm actually I'm really into. I love science.
Well, what's different? According to you, fate. This person should have died. They should have expired, started to decompose, and that's
meet
kind of where their maker. What's different about cloning a specific organ that allows someone to live past when they're supposed to be alive?
I would have to basically digress then and say that I agree with you that to stay consistent with my beliefs, definitely.
And again, I'm twisting your nipples here with some iron clamps, and it's really turning me on.
To extend someone's life, that's one thing, but I just, to me, cloning, it's really fucking with the Matrix.
They predicted that within the next 75 to 100 years, a complete central nervous system, brain, heart, lungs, liver, every major organ in a body should theoretically be able to be cloned by a simple draw of blood and be on standby, and that it would increase the longevity. There is a specific process where you shock certain cells. It's what triggers cells in your body to think it's time to start aging, it's time to start dying, it is time to start producing less. And if they're able to activate and manipulate this process in the body, someone that today you would cringe at, a 95-year-old or a 100-year-old, could look like the Christy Brinkley or, the supermodel, because they had genetic manipulation that helped them to continue to regenerate their cellular structure with DNA infusements and certain treatments, and live not indefinitely, but at least double, if not close to tripling their lifetime. So we're talking like, can you imagine hitting your 150th birthday, 200? I mean, kind of makes this almost like a Vulcan, but they're saying this is possible, maybe even achievable of up to 250, 300 years.
See, I can see extending the life of somebody, and I know that it's inconsistent with what I was saying before. I can understand extending someone's life, but if someone dies at the age of 20 and you had the opportunity to clone them, I don't know why, but it just seems so foreign to me to be like, well, yeah, let's bring them back. I'm just so like,
people are selfish and do things for selfish reasons.
Yeah, it's like I can understand.
A lot of times people do it for them, not for the other person. They don't want to go on. They don't want to live on.
And what if that person wouldn't have wanted to come back? I mean, that's my other thing is.
Hey man, if I wanted to drink a bottle of scotch and blow my fucking brains out, maybe I don't want to be brought back. Maybe I'm a little pissed off at life and I just want to move on. Why are you gonna bring me back?
I'm really science fiction about it. Is like, I mean, how do you bring them back? And are they gonna have the same memories as that person?
Well, that's the thing.
It's just so weird.
The cerebral cortex is kind of like a window pane, and you press your fingers and you do your bit. That's it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. See, it just sounds so foreign to me. But we're basically out of time here. We gotta make way for Brian Crow here. But
I've had a great discussion,
Colonel. That's why we extended it to 2 hours, because we could never get enough work done in 1 hour on truth. But with 2 hours, you can start with the internet and finish with cloning. You know, it's
It's all about information. DNA is information. It's all information.
Yeah, and so I mean, I always have a great time doing this show, and I'm really excited for next week. So yeah, thank you, Sean McKendall.
Hey, I'm always glad to be here, and until the next Freak Week, you have yourself a badass weekend, and everyone out there, you know, don't eat all the shit that's shoveled to you, man. Look for the truth. That's what I'm talking about.
Damn straight. All right, well, thanks for listening to Truth, and we'll catch you all next week at 7 o'clock on Thursday. Rock and roll.
That's all we have this week. Tune in next week for more of Truth.
Only on Excite Radio.
It's the Hollywood Rockin' Wrap-Up with your host, Jason Hadley. One of the investors of 2012's Spring Breakers is suing for his cut of the profits. How it made $14 million is anyone's guess, since watching the 94-minute James Franco movie felt more like 127 hours. Madonna said she was just kidding after the singer stirred up some controversy, posting a rather revealing dress she wanted to wear. Like it even matters anymore, she's 55. The only thing Madonna's stirring up more than controversy is Metamucil. Dr. Dre recently purchased a 19,000 square foot mega mansion. If you're having trouble picturing what a 19,000 square foot home looks like, let's just say Tom Cruise couldn't come out of the closet without stopping for directions. Actress Emma Stone opened up to 17 magazines saying that she, in fact, actually has trouble keeping weight on. However, one could argue Emma Stone has had a substantial amount of extra weight on her, but that's only if you count her boyfriend Andrew Garfield. And that's the Hollywood Rockin' Wrap-Up. Follow us on Twitter at Rockin' Wrap-Up.
It's time to build your website, but are you feeling over